Welcome to our podcast, Life According to Lisa.
And Jim, every once in a while, he gets to say something.
Today's episode is Older, She Wrote.
Yes. It's sort of a play on words, Lisa.
Yes. Now, let's talk about the character in the book, The Brooklyn Witch.
The main character.
The main character, Speranza.
Lisa's doppelganger.
Thank you. Yes, there are some similarities, I admit, but she is a fictional character. But she's not powerful because she's perfect. I want to start there. She's powerful, because I'm not saying I'm perfect.
Yeah, not right at this moment. You're waiting for the microphones to go off, and then you'll start saying it.
So I'm not saying she's powerful because she's perfect. She's powerful because she's experienced, wounded, reluctant, funny, stubborn, intuitive, and still becoming.
Yes.
So we often talk about the Mary Sues that we see on TV and read in books.
Right. Well, and everybody knows what a Mary Sue is. That's a character. It could be male or
too perfect.
Male or female. That
a lot of twos.
Too much,
capable.
Too interrupting. So they know everything. And
too adored. Tell me more about my eyes.
Every single thing, they have the perfect setting, the perfect joke, the perfect everything.
But they're untouched by real consequences.
Yeah, the most annoying one that I could think of recently was in Chicago Fire. They used to have this paramedic firefighter girl that everybody looked up to and bowed down to, like she was the greatest thing ever. And every show, every story revolved around her.
Well, we're going to get into Mary Sue's. We're also going to get into the girl boss.
Right. So a girl boss is a trope that we see all the time, and of course
hyper competent.
Right.
That female empowerment.
Which is all good, but sometimes
we're going to break it down for you.
Sometimes it's stretched to a ludicrous degree that everyone else has to follow what they say and do. Otherwise, she saves the day, which can happen, sure, but it doesn't happen every single time.
So Speranza is different because her power is an inheritance. It's also a burden, a responsibility, and this late life awakening. So
right. She doesn't know the depth of her power or what she has.
She's not the chosen girl.
Right.
She's a woman who she survived long enough to now answer the call.
Right. And everybody recognizes her potential. She has the potential for power. So that sometimes is different than actually having power. When you see someone who you could say, wow, that person is very smart. Why are they in this job? They should be the president of the company. I'm sure in your job you should have seen something like that.
Let's go. Let's jump right into one TV show that we watch that I'm going to play back and forth on this one because I could see, let's talk about a high potential. That character, she has this photographic memory. She has this brain. Her IQ is off the charts.
Right.
But it's also a burden.
Right. Well,
so they do play off of that too.
Right. I talk to Lisa all the time about the omniscient character that knows everything. Now, going back to the most famous and the most used and the most written about, who has the most books written about anybody. Who is that, Lisa?
I know what you're going to say.
Who is that?
You're going to say Sherlock Holmes.
Right. Everyone loves to write Sherlock Holmes, and especially now that Sherlock Holmes is in the public domain, there's thousands of books of people writing about Sherlock Holmes, and he's the guy that knows everything. So he might not necessarily know everything, but he can deduce it and figure it out immediately. So basically, all of these TV shows, pretty much all of them, are ripoffs of Sherlock Holmes in one way or another. Mm-hmm. Everybody from Columbo to High Potential to Elspeth, they all have that omniscient character that's the guy that everybody goes to, and he knows the deal, and he'll tell you exactly what's what. With one little glance, they can tell you that that's the bad guy. That's the murderer.
Like Elspeth.
Right.
Like if anybody watches Elspeth, and now we're also going towards women that are older in these roles too. So that's what I want to talk about.
Yeah.
But just let me get that off my head. In Elspeth, I like in the first 5 minutes she knows who the murderer is.
Right.
Like Columbo. And then he'll come bust your balls for the whole, length of the show. He comes back and the person's like, it's like he's Columbo, where they're doing something, they don't stop doing it, they keep trying to get away from him.
Right. Well, I wish there was a show that was like real life, like you're the detective and you're saying, I think this guy did it, but I really don't like this guy, so I'm going to prove that he did it and let the other guy go scot-free because that's the guy I want to arrest and put in jail. And then 20 years later, they find the DNA, he didn't really do it. Right. That's how the real life works. So they never have real life. It's always nonsense in television. Now, one thing I want to mention quickly. When you listen to this podcast, we seem to talk a lot about TV shows and movies and stuff like that as opposed to books. There's a reason for that. It's the frame of reference and what people would know. So a mass market TV show that's on CBS like Matlock or Elspeth or Columbo going back in the day, a lot more people know that than talking about the books because, unfortunately, not enough people read books. And we want people to read books. And specifically, we want you to read The Brooklyn Witch, which is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo.
BrooklynWitch.com.
Yes. But so I belong to a lot of book clubs here in the Oceanside Library, and it's pretty interesting because there's only 2 guys in the book club and like 20 women, right? And women like a specific type, and maybe it's a stereotype, but I don't think it is because if it's true, it's not really a stereotype. So they like a certain type of book. Okay, so, and it's always emotional and family oriented and stuff like, usually 9 times out of 10.
Or love stories.
Well, yeah, they don't even actually do that so much once in a while, but
there's a lot of people out there that love what do they call
romance
it?
novels.
No, it's called
chick flicks.
No, it has another name. Now I don't remember.
Well,
anyway,
the point of the story is there's only 2 guys.
Like somebody wrote on a book club on a Facebook page. Does anyone know any kind of magical witchy story that's not a romance? Oh, right. Romancy. That's what they call it.
Romancy's the new term, yes.
And I'm like, the Brooklyn Witch.
Right. Well.
And then I saw my sister wrote the Brooklyn Witch down in the feed.
Yeah. So what happens in the book club when everybody, it's called page turners. So we get together every month talking about the books we've read. There's one other guy and me. So we always read like detective stories or war stories or stuff like that, which none of these women are going to read in a million years, So it's pretty funny because it's different tastes. So the reason why we're heavy in talking about movies and TV shows here because we want to talk about character and plot and stuff like that. And I think it's more accessible if we talk about TV because everybody or most people have a frame of reference for that. I'm sorry, Lisa, continue. I didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, so I was trying to check the boxes. We had the Mary Sue's.
Check off your list.
Yes. The girl boss, right? So the girl boss, like, what do you mean by girl boss, right? We're going to explain.
Well, it's kind of a pejorative term that people are using now.
It can sound empowering, okay? But sometimes it turns into the super polished, always capable, marketable version of strength.
Well, basically, it's any role that Jessica Chastain plays. Because what she does, and Lisa that just made a quizzical look at me like, who the hell is Jessica Chastain? If I show you her face, you know who I mean.
I know. I'm not in names. I'm a face person.
But basically, she's always the person who goes and she weighs 90 pounds, but she kicks the ass out of a 250-pound German mercenary.
Yes.
Not just one of them, but like 5 of them. Yeah. Now, they do the same kind of ridiculous things with men, too. For instance, Tracker can beat up anybody and shoot 10 guys in a Norman car heist, and he walks away without a scratch. No.
And then he's back in his little trailer and driving to another state.
Right. After he just killed 10 people and there's no repercussions. So he is a pure Mary Sue, and he's a pure boy boss. I don't know. They don't use that pejorative term because...
But it works.
They want people push against that. My thing is it should be believable, at least have some semblance of reality. Just, within shouting distance. It could be on the far shore, but you got to be able to see it. It can't be so ridiculous that it's not believable at all.
That's why in The Brooklyn Witch, I did not want Speranza to have that. I wanted her to be, her power isn't polished. She doesn't even know her potential. It's messy. It comes with fear. She has anxiety. She has family baggage.
She's vulnerable, and
she has responsibility on her shoulders.
Right.
Like at her age, she has a lot of responsibility, things that she worries about.
So hopefully, it's a fully rounded character. It's not so all of a piece, all of a Mary Sue that knows everything and can do everything. No, that's not who Speranza is. That's not who most of us are. That's not what real life is. Usually.
I like the midlife power.
Right.
You know, it's not a coming into power because they want attention. Speranza comes into power because she has been pushed there and she can't look away. She has to face these fears.
Well, what I think the key to it is Speranza has something that people want. What does she have? She has her inherent potential, her power. So people want to use that, and they want to use her abilities. So it's like an athlete. You know, you get an athlete.
Athlete.
you get somebody that can really play ball, right? So all of the scouts come in and say, "Oh, we really want to sign this guy because he can really play." Well, yeah, she can really play. And they want her.
She's powerful, but she's not invincible.
Right.
That's
exactly. That's very good. True. And she has doubts. She has qualms.
She second guesses herself all the time.
Right.
She's always going to go to her husband and confess and get his opinion. But then she knows it's going to be different than what she wants to do. And she has all these emotional attachments. Right. She's stubborn. But she does have self-doubt.
Well, so that's what makes her, I think, a fully rounded and good character.
And she doesn't always know what the right thing is to do. Right. She's always saying, what do I do? What side should I be on? Right.
She has a lot of self-doubt, which is very approachable, very relevant. You could see yourself in that role. She's not like Captain Marvel that can do everything.
But I think a lot of people will connect with her.
Hopefully, yes.
And that have told me they felt that.
Well, that's what you were going for. Cause now, I don't know where we are in the list, but what's the next thing you want to talk about?
You almost made me curse.
Oh, sorry?
Yeah.
Well, oh, wait. She did curse, but non-verbally, folks. Good thing this is not being filmed.
I have to keep things going. Otherwise, Jim would go off on a tangent and we'd be on another podcast.
Yes, it's Jim's fault. If you learn one thing from our podcast, learn that. It's Jim's fault. Continue, my dear.
Well, I just want people to know that Speranza isn't the girl boss. She's not the Mary Sue. You know, she's this woman. She's 58 in the book. She's a woman who has lived. She's lost. She's loved. She's learned. She still has more power waiting.
Any more L words in there?
Yeah. I was trying
she ate liverwurst.
I was trying to make it flow, like it'd be fun.
Little alliteration.
Lost, love, learned. And she still has more power waiting inside.
Good.
You know? And I really enjoy her. And I enjoy building her world and all the things that she does and how she thinks. And when you were doing something to me yesterday and...
Lisa, we're not supposed to talk about that on the air.
You were talking about... Wait a minute.
Right. Well, we were talking about... We basically touched on it with Sherlock Holmes. You sometimes have an omniscient character that knows everything. And that's the person that comes in and they at one glance...
No, but I think you over-explained it to me, like where I was doing Home Alone with... like screaming because I couldn't, like you went into a history lesson.
Right.
And it's funny because Speranza does the same thing. Like I pull things from my own life, of course, for this character. People are like, oh, is that you? And I'm like, you know, emotionally, it could be me that I pull things
Well,
in.
Lisa got very upset when I told her the whole plot of the show, Here Comes the Brides. And she was very upset.
Oh, my God, that's what it was.
We were talking about older actresses. And I said, well, I love older actresses. One of my favorites of all time when I was a kid was...
But he got really excited, and it felt like a half an hour. And I was fixing my eyes on the center of the bridge of his nose that I was paying attention. But I was screaming inside my head.
Okay, so what I was talking about, now this is going to date us.
Date you.
Date me, yes, okay.
Yes, he married younger.
Right. Lisa actually figured out how old I'm going to be this year, and she ran out screaming out of the room.
I didn't realize you were going to be that old, so I'm sorry. Well, let's talk about, while he's looking that up, women over 50.
No, right. So one of my favorite actresses.
Okay, we'll go back to that.
Well, because I want to talk about Here Comes the Brides,
All right,
Lisa.
get it out.
Joan Blondell was one of my favorite actresses of all time.
Can you show me the picture? I don't know who the hell that is.
In the 20s, she was hotsy-totsy. She was very famous. She was, really cute. Okay. But in Here Comes the Bride, she played the owner of the bar. And the plot of Here Comes the Brides was there was these...
In case anyone's paying attention that wants to know.
There's going to be a little 5-minute detour here.
Okay. Is a revival coming up on this?
No, but they really should redo it. Because I think there's a lot of themes that would be interesting.
All right, Bill Lawrence?
Yes. I think if Bill Lawrence made Here Comes the Brides, it'd be amazing. Mm-hmm. But what's even more amazing is like The Twilight Zone when you watch it and all of a sudden William Shatner or Jack Klugman show up. And you say, what's the guy that just...
And they're so young.
Who's the guy that just croaked recently from The Godfather?
I don't know.
Yeah, you know him.
No.
He just passed. They're all in Twilight Zone. You go, holy cow, I didn't know they were in this. Or Robert Redford was in the Twilight Zone. It's like,
I think everyone was in the Twilight Zone.
Right. So,
I think we're in the Twilight Zone right now.
What's really funny is in Here Comes the Brides, a lot of the characters, people that played parts, then went on to Star Trek because they were made in the same lot, I guess.
Probably.
So they hired some of the same actors, which we see all the time in English shows.
And Hallmark shows.
And Hallmark. There's always the same. There's the one guy that we see in every freaking show. It's amazing. But
they have to all live in the area and they're available.
Here Comes the Brides. There was all these lumberjacks.
Back to that again.
Right.
I thought he forgot.
And the banker made a bet with the owner of the mountain that if he could get all the 100 guys, because they were going to leave because there was no women. He said,
this is coming back to me now.
And
Do you know that I completely forgot what you told me yesterday? That it's coming back to me now?
Lisa, welcome to my world. So
it just came back to me.
So he had to have all 100 guys married in a year. So he took a ship to New England and got 100 spinsters.
Women had to be married.
No, the men had to be
now
married.
It makes more
Otherwise,
sense.
they were going to stop chopping down the wood.
I'm telling you, I was just staring at you.
Welcome to my world. So he had to marry these 100 girls, these 100 guys, 2 girls that he brought from New England because they were all, spinsters because all the New England guys were out chasing Moby Dick and whalers or whatever the hell they were doing, or they died in the Civil War, whatever the nonsense was that they came up with. So who were the stars? And I'll stop at that, okay? Starsky from Starsky and Hutch was one. Yes. David Soul was one brother. He was the middle brother.
But he was the blonde.
Yeah. I believe Robert Brown, I think, was his name. He was famous for...
Cole. Didn't you say Cole?
No.
Who was Cole yesterday?
No one was Cole. Sweetie.
Somebody was Cole. The last name was Cole.
No.
Okay. I was paying attention. You can't be looking this up right now.
I'm not looking anything up. It's Robert Brown. I was right. And Robert Brown played in Star Trek, as I recall, in the famous show with the Riddler, Frank Gorshin.
Yes.
And they were each guys were black on one side.
The original Riddler from Batman?
Yes.
That one?
That one.
Batman.
He was an impressionist. He used to do impressions also.
That's why he was so good at the Riddler.
Right. Well, he was Jim Carrey's father. It's a little known fact, but
no way.
Yes, I think he definitely was Jim Carrey's father.
Was Jim Carrey's father?
Yes, I think that's true.
Are you making this up?
Of course I'm making this up, but if the world was right, it would be true. That Frank Gorshin was Jim Carrey's father.
Juicy stuff there.
Well, maybe this will get us picked up on the internet.
I would have believed it. I did believe it.
And the last brother, Robert Brown, who was on Star Trek, played the half white, half black guy. And the Riddler was half white and half black on the other side, and they hated each other and wanted to kill each other. That very famous Star Trek episode. And then the third one was Bobby Sherman.
Bobby Sherman.
Heartthrob.
Yes, I think I kicked my friend Ann in the nose arguing over Bobby Sherman in my backyard.
Right.
Got a nosebleed.
She wanted.
I didn't do it on purpose.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. I didn't.
You were fighting over the centerfold from Teen Beat, Tiger Beat magazine.
It was something to do with Bobby Sherman, and maybe, if I'm right, I got to ask her.
So the point of the story is that those three,
David Cassidy and
Bobby Sherman were the two guys.
I did have a David Cassidy poster in my bedroom.
Right.
Huge.
Those were the two teen heartthrobs at the time.
Yes. I went to see David Cassidy and the Partridge Family in my brownie uniform.
Very nice.
All of us, the whole troop went.
So this is a long-winded, and we went off on a tangent here. As of course, Jim went off on a tangent, talking about a powerful woman and an interesting woman, Joan Blondell, one of my favorites. So what happened in there was a lot of stars like Joan Blondell in the 20s and 30s who were great actresses and smart and beautiful and all like that. And then all of a sudden in the 50s and 60s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, they got a little older. They were in their 30s, their 40s, their 50s. But they still made movies with them as the star, okay? And they were like Ida Lupino in the movie where she played a newspaper woman. Joan Crawford, Betty Davis, Katharine Hepburn. You can name so many, Barbara Stanwyck. And they would make a great movie with those older actresses.
And they were leads.
They weren't in their early 20s or in their teens like they do nowadays. Nowadays, what happened is, I think when the 60s happened, the demographic changed. So all the kids, the baby boomers, were coming into their own, and they only wanted to see young people. They didn't want to see the old timers. They didn't want to see any of that. So all of those actresses, where did they go? Well, they went to the Love Boat.
True.
Or they got, like maybe they got on TV and like Barbara Stanwyck was in the Big Valley or whatever. They got a TV gig or something. I remember Betty Davis had a very big episode on Gunsmoke where she played like a Moore Barker type. But there wasn't actually movies that were basically, or shows written about them and starring them to be seen in the 70s, 60s, 70s, and 80s even, going that far. Now that demographic, the kids
because they only wanted the youth, right?
Younger people,
they
ingenues.
only wanted, and they weren't interested, so everybody got put on the back burner. And I feel like it's making a comeback now. There's a nice movement happening.
Well, the demographic changed because those people that were young in the 60s and early 70s now are in their early 70s.
And they want familiar.
And they want people from their generation. They want to see the people that of their own
that
ilk.
they could connect to.
Right. And they want to turn around and say, listen, we want to see a show. We want to see an actor. We want to see an actress who's our peer, our contemporary, and living a life, a real life, actualized in every way, intellectual, sexual, whatever it might be. They don't want it to be segregated.
Okay. So let's hit now, like women over 50 that are leading TV right now. So we see Nicole Kidman. She's 58. The movie's coming out, Practical Magic 2, or whatever they named it.
About witches, but not as good as The Brooklyn Witch, which is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, and Apple Books.
TheBrooklynWitch.com.
Yes.
Just visit that. We did talk about and hit on Scarpetta on another podcast.
Yes.
She's the leading actress there. She's also
a murderer because she murdered that character and destroyed the books.
Well, we'll get to the other podcast about that if you want to. Just check the other.
If you want to hear a 5-minute rant, you can listen to the other podcast.
He'll have that one. Lioness, she's on that. Even though she's not the leading, but she has
a substantial role, yes.
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, Helen Mirren is 80 years old.
She's the ultimate.
Perfect, right? The Thursday Murder Club.
Right.
She stars in it. I love it. I love where she's like, we're not done. We still want to have fun. We want to solve mysteries. We want to do things. And I just love that show. I think it's great.
Certain actors they bring them on because they have gravitas. So we love Shrinking. We talked about Harrison Ford has gravitas. All of his things that he did from Star Wars and Indiana Jones lends his character. He brings all that to a show. Helen Mirren is someone who does the same thing. All the things that she did from Excalibur all the way down. Mm-hmm. She's in the show.
And now the Yellowstone prequel.
Right, 1923. Yes, and she brings that gravitas. Certain people have that. Judi Dench, we could go down the list, and they bring that immediately to their role, So some people don't. I mean, they bring the opposite, and that's okay. You could be known for being crazy and funny and quirky. That's okay. Like Terry Gall was like that. God rest her soul. She was quirky and interesting and funny.
Is she from Laughing?
No, that's Goldie Hawn. Terry Gall. No, Terry Gall was not on Laughing.
Was she on Saturday Night Live?
No, she was on Young Frankenstein. She was.
Yeah.
She was in Star Trek, famous as another Star Trek episode. Why am I keep going back to Star Trek? I don't understand.
Let's Brooke Shields.
Right.
I'm just throwing out people here. She's 58. She recently played the mother on One Calls the Heart.
The mother of the dead Mountie. Put that on your resume.
But then she had a lot of Hallmark shows that she starred in, Castle for Christmas, a lot of that lifestyle media stuff that's on Hallmark. But she does have an upcoming Acorn murder mystery coming out, which I think is great. You're Killing Me.
Right.
So I'm excited about that. She's with the guy from The Flash.
Right.
It's about
Tom Cavanaugh.
Yes, a best-selling author teams with a podcaster. So now it's a relevant show with someone that's 58, which I love.
Right. Well, they're trying to get it relevant. Yes. So
It is. It's going to work.
and there's a revival. What's the revival coming up, Lisa?
Revival. Oh, yes, it's Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yes, indeed.
Guess how old she is?
She's 67.
That's right. And she's going to play Angela Lansbury's role as Murder, She Wrote.
Correct.
So I love that they had this little old lady. Think about Angela Lansbury when she played the role in Murder, She Wrote.
And how they presented her.
They presented her as this little old lady.
As a grandma.
Now, Jamie Lee Curtis isn't going to come off as a little old lady.
No.
She could be a grandma, but she's not going to be this little old lady.
Correct.
I mean, people talk about the Golden Girls and how old they were when they played their parts. From B. Arthur, and Betty White was 63 years old.
When it first started, yes.
Yeah.
And Sophia, the grandma, how old was she, Lisa?
Well, they dressed her older. I think she was the youngest of all of them.
No? She was the second youngest.
The other one.
She was 62. Rue McClanahan, who played the sexy one, Blanche, was only 51.
Correct.
She was a baby compared to the others. But
now, Angela Lansbury was 58.
When she
the same age as
Speranza,
Brooke Shields. I mean, there's a lot of Nicole Kidman. They're all 58. But think about Angela Lansbury, what she looked like in Murder, She Wrote at 58 compared to what Nicole Kidman looks like at 58 years old.
Well, that's not Nicole Kidman. That's a lot of surgery.
Well, Jamie Lee Curtis looks really good.
Yes,
and she's
she
67.
does.
So
Well,
she's even older than what Angela Lansbury was when she started the role.
Jamie Lee Curtis, it's not fair to use her because her parents were two of the most beautiful people that ever lived in the world.
This is true. This is
so
true.
it's genetics, okay?
Yes.
She kind of won
That
life's
plays a
lottery
part.
there.
It does play a part. But look at Dana Delaney.
Right.
She's on Tulsa King.
Mm-hmm.
So she doesn't have the leading role, but she has a pretty good role on the show. And she's sexy.
Right.
She could be sexy at her age. It's allowed, Like, they're not little old ladies.
Right.
Just because they're older.
Oh, my goodness.
Dr. Smith, Dr. Aaron Smith, please report to the front desk.
Oh, my goodness.
What was that line? What was the line you were going to say?
Dick Hertz. Will Dick Hertz please report to the library desk and return his books?
So
alcoholic.
So that's right.
Alcoholic.
Mr. Alcoholic.
Can you return your book about wine tasting to the front desk? Thank you very much.
All right, listen. We're in the podcast room in the Oceanside Library, and they cannot dismantle the speaker system in case there's an emergency.
Right.
So every once in a while, you'll hear them ask for a custodian.
The owner of the 1975 Pinto with the bumper off, can you please move your car because it's very ugly and we don't want it in our parking lot.
So there you go.
So to go back to Jamie Lee Curtis and Murder, She Wrote.
Yes. I was talking about Dana Delaney, yes. And I just loved how she plays like a woman of her age. Like, everything doesn't like shut down. It's not like a computer and we go away. We're still alive. Andie MacDowell, look at her. She found love on that Pond show, right?
Yes.
She's sporting her gray locks. She looks great. Her skin looks gorgeous. And she found love too.
Yes, and she was famous for being an actress because she was a model first, and she was very beautiful. And as an actress, she's very beautiful.
Yes.
Dana Delaney's
actually. She doesn't have to jump in the pond, right? I don't remember.
I know she did jump in the pond a couple.
Did it work?
I believe she did. Yes.
Okay. I mean, we look at Angela Bassett. She's 67. She
Yes,
looks gorgeous.
that is the most ridiculous, nonsensical thing I've ever seen.
I can see.
We had a big argument about it
We
today.
did have a big argument about this.
She's exactly the same age as Jamie Lee Curtis.
She's 67.
Now, Jamie Lee Curtis is going to play the Angela Lansbury role for Murder, She Wrote, right?
The Angela?
Angela.
Okay.
So now Angela Bassett plays a cop on 911, and she flies planes. She gets in fistfights. She swims through.
She saved the cruise ship.
She saved the cruise ship, swimming through the water like she was Ernest Borgnine in there.
Was it upside
Poseidon
down?
Adventure. No,
Yeah.
it wasn't upside down, but it was messed up.
It was kind of like a Poseidon Adventure thing.
But she kicks the crap out of people all the time. And she's 67 years old. In real life, there are no street cops that are 67. Sorry. It's not allowed. The insurance company would never allow it.
I mean, if she was a detective
Right.
or moved to a different position, I could see it. But the street cop, being in a cop car alone,
Yes.
I know she, you could see her muscles.
Yeah, and she's in great shape, but she's
Mm-hmm.
also 67 years old. So you have to have a little bit of reality, I think. But what are you going to do? That's TV for you. And once again, I would love to talk about books, but the problem is not enough people read books. So if we gave examples from books, people would just shrug their shoulders and say, we don't really know.
I think more people get these TV shows than.
Right.
So, again, going back to where the Brooklyn Witch is different and how she's 58, and it was intentional. And I didn't want to write another coming of age story about this young woman who discovered her power. I wanted to write about a woman who has already lived. Like, she already worked. She already worked on Wall Street. She already did things. Now she's stepping into something bigger in her life. Like, she's actually being pushed into that. And I wanted to tell a story about when we took this publishing class, right? When I was, I had designed the cover of the book already. And it already had the Minotaur shadow. It already had the storefront. It was already designed. And I had showed it to everyone in the class.
Right. It was a class about self-publishing. And
But
what was
we went for it was so many weeks long.
it was a month long.
Four classes or whatever. I just want to, and what happened is I was talking about the main character and how I chose her to be older. And everyone was saying, well, they looked at the cover of the book and they criticized me that they said, well, if it's so important to you that she's older, why aren't you putting her on the cover of your book? Like an older person on the book. And I was like, what? So I humored them like, okay, whatever. Like, I'm not doing that. There's no way I'm doing that. And I felt like it made me think back to when I was opening the plus size clothing store in Brooklyn.
Lily's Valise.
Lily's Valise. And how we talked about how that name came about in other podcasts. And that would have been the name of my store if I opened a card store or a furniture store, whatever it was going to be Lily's Valise because that's my story. Now, everyone argued with me that I needed to have some sort of size word in the name so people knew what kind of store it was.
The Chubby Nook.
So I thought, like, what was I going to call it? Pleasantly Plump? Or, like there's a store, The Forgotten Woman. There are stores out there that have these names. I didn't want that attachment. I wanted to be like a boutique, like every other boutique, but I just carried different size clothes.
Right. You weren't hiding anything. You were proud of who you were, but we were just not going to bow down to the idea that we had to conform to their ideas.
If you noticed that there was a different size mannequin in the window that was different from all the other little tiny mannequins in the neighborhood, or if you walked up to the window and you saw in the cute little there was a picture frame that said what size I was catering to in the picture frame. Okay, you found it out that way, but I didn't think it needed to be in your face, and I wanted it to be another beautiful boutique on Court Street. We just happen to carry different sizes. So why would I put an older, a mature woman on the cover of my book? I am writing a book about a woman is the main character, yes, but it's a story. So there's no reason that I have to limit it on my book cover. I just felt like those two things connected, and I did the same. I made my choice on both.
It's funny when Lisa said she was writing a book. We certainly got a lot of unsolicited advice from people that said, "Oh, well, you should do this and you should do that." And I'll say, "Listen, when you write a book, you can certainly do that." Just like in the store, when we had the store, we had tons of people who would come in and tell us what to do. They said, "You should do this and you should do that." When we would always say, "When you have a store, you can do that." So the idea
I
of
did it. The whole thing is that I purposely.
Purposely. You purposely.
Nice. I was very intentional when I created Speranza, and I made her 58 years old. And I didn't want her to be that typical coming of age, the ingenue you see in all the stories.
Right.
That discovering who she is for the first time. No, Speranza already lived. She had history. She had relationships. And, she had losses, and, she had a whole life behind her that when that guy that walks in the room that you just said, Harrison Ford, what he brings with him, I wanted Speranza to bring with her into the story.
Right. He brings gravitas, which actually Speranza doesn't have at this point.
She doesn't have it at this point.
Right.
But it will happen.
She will develop it over time. But certain people did have gravitas, like Nona has gravitas, or Granny Meg, or some of the other characters who have been practicing for a long time and are all of a piece, so they know who they are to the nth degree. Speranza is still actually discovering herself, which means you can have that journey of discovery at any age. It doesn't have to happen when you're 18. It can happen when you're 80 if you're going to turn and do something new and try and reinvent yourself, which is what she's really going to do now, because she's actually fully embracing her heritage as a witch. Right? So that's her journey in the book.
We have dead air right now.
We have dead air.
Oh, no. I lost my train of thought. But I did wanted to talk about this Beast People again.
Okay. Well, we were talking about the omniscient characters, and we said, Sherlock Holmes is the main original one. So,
yes, I guess.
Not the original one. No, that's not actually true. But he's one of the most prominent and has been the most copied over the years. It's funny. People love to copy other people. That's what they do. So you can copy someone. You can be influenced by someone, not necessarily copy them. As I've said before, like Tolkien's world, so many people copy it. So what happens in TV shows, they have the Sherlock Holmes character. Like, for instance, what's the one that's on right now all the time?
The Sherlock Holmes?
No, High Potential.
I wasn't paying attention. Sorry.
Squirrel. High Potential. The girl is Sherlock Holmes, basically.
Yes,
she comes in and
is.
she deducts everything and she figures it all out. And she says, "Oh, there's
something." She sees something and it triggers a thought, and then it's solved.
It's a mustard stain. So the guy was eating the hot dogs. He definitely likes Charles Feltman because he went to the Greenwood Cemetery, and that's where we'll find him. No, that's not real life.
Well, Unforgettable was like
well,
that,
Unforgettable was. I hated that show with a passion because she was a detective who wore tank tops and had high heels. Trust me, that's not what detectives look like in the NYPD. If you've ever had to talk to a detective.
No one's walking around with high heels on.
And a tank top in New York City
run after someone.
in December. It's just not happening. Or, for instance, now the omniscient narrator is a different thing. We had to make a decision. Lisa had to make a decision when she first wrote the book.
Was it going to be in first person?
Or third person.
Mm-hmm.
So now third person is easier. Okay, and you're basically cheating because you can describe everything and tell everybody about everything and make it clear. We have this argument all the time where I say you really shouldn't over-explain it. You should just do it, and people get it or they don't. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But it shouldn't be opaque that you can't figure it out, but it shouldn't also be so obvious that, like, oh, look over here, here's the murderer. You don't want to do that. Because then it's...
Well, and it's style, because some shows you see the murder right off from the beginning. Some of them you get to figure it out as part of the audience. You get to figure it out. You don't know who the murderer is.
Right.
There's two ways of going. Either you see it right at the beginning or you figure it out at the end.
Right. So the omniscience is the question. Where are you going to go with that? So Speranza doesn't know everything. She's always constantly surprised and learning as she goes.
Right. There's no narrator the all-knowing narrator.
Right. We easily could have. You easily could have
done that.
You easily could have had someone like Nona be that person to tell her story. We're not telling her story. We're experiencing it. I think if that's one way to put it.
I mean, in case you want to know, like, what is the all-knowing style? If you ever watched Desperate Housewives, the narrator was Mary Alice Young, right? She was the dead narrator who knew everyone's secrets, past and future. That's textbook. Right.
So in other words, that's really, I think personally, and I say this to Lisa all the time, when there's a narration, that's really cheating. You're cheating. You don't have the talent to advance the story by plot and dialogue. You have to explain it to the audience. Now
so that made me think of something. When we had Big Brooklyn Style, and after, like, there was a whole blah, blah, blah that happened, and we had to go back and do talking heads, we had to narrate the scenes that were omitted or lost or not filmed.
Right, which is at the time I told the guy he was a jerk and a hack after the first week, and,
But whatever, coming to the end, we had to reshoot things just as talking heads doing the narration, which was cheating, instead of showing it in the scene. So, yes.
Well, right, because if it's internal and it's easy to understand, you shouldn't. It doesn't have to be easy.
Well, the Wonder Years does it too.
Right.
Even the reboot, they do it. They have the adult narrator reflecting back.
But the Wonder Years is not cheating, I think, because it's a memoir of a person thinking about his life. So if you have someone talking about their life, like Angela's Ashes, for instance, to actually talk about a book, okay. That's someone remembering their life.
That book was so sad.
Right.
I cried my eyes out.
So when you have someone telling their life story, that's different because they'll tell you everything they knew and thought of, but not everybody. There are other ones. I don't want to quote them basically because.
Well, let's do like voiceover driven. How I Met Your Mother.
Right. How You Met Your Mother was another one that didn't make any sense to me.
Even both of them, right? Wasn't there a reboot on that?
They could have been. I don't remember.
It was Kim Cattrall. Is that her name?
Yes, Kim Cattrall.
Didn't she?
I think she played the mother, the grandmother.
Something. I don't remember. Anyway, there's no single narrator. We had a couple of them that I know people have watched and read the books, Game of Thrones.
Well, Game of Thrones, basically, his device was every chapter he would put it from the point of view of a different character, which was quite interesting. But he would put the name of the character, Jaime Lannister, and then there's a whole chapter that from his point of view, so that was an interesting conceit that he used, and I thought that's a great.
So that was character driven.
Right, and it's okay. I think it's kind of great to actually have a different mindset for different characters because if the character is really evil, okay, if the whole book is the evil character's mind, that's kind of tough to read. You don't really want to read 30 chapters of a crazy psycho serial killer, right? They don't really. And Silence of the Lambs, he doesn't go through Hannibal Lecter's point of view, right? That's not the device that he's going to use. So we didn't do that either because we have it mainly through Speranza's point of view.
Right.
So if you're going to have that omniscient character, it's not, I don't think it really works. And I think it's cheating. It's the same thing with the narration. It's cheating. And also use of magic is cheating. You're using magic to get out of a.
You can't, magic can't solve a problem.
Yes. Correct. It can't be the thing you go to get you out of the plot hole that you wrote. So what Lisa tried to do in The Brooklyn Witch is to show a woman of, a certain age who is a vibrant, loving, intelligent woman, but also was now late in life.
Well, she's showing, Speranza's not a fantasy of perfection, okay? She shows that women can be older, They can be complicated. They could be funny. They could be wounded. They could be magical and still be the center of the story.
Right. Without being a Mary Sue or a girl boss or being...
Right. She doesn't have to be a girl boss. She doesn't have to be the Mary Sue. She's just a woman who, I did all my L words that you didn't like. Okay, I'm a Lisa. I'm an L. I wear an L, right? Everybody knows me as my L necklace, right? So she lived, she lost, she loved, she learned. I love that.
And she ain't liverwurst, so it all works.
She still has more power waiting. And if you've read book 1, right now, book 2,
it's in the works.
It's in the works, and you're gonna love it. And you're gonna come on for this ride. It's gonna be a 7-book series, and I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yes, and getting back to the fact
that we're representing.
Yes, so so getting back to the story of the book club, it's a book that both men and women can read and enjoy, and it's not so specifically geared to women, but it is probably more of a woman's book than a men's book. But a men can read it and enjoy it because
a lot of men enjoyed it.
So a lot of macho men that Lisa's friends with have bought the book and really enjoyed it. Like one guy's a court officer, he loved it. Another guy was a cop, he enjoyed it because we throw in other parts of the story.
It's just a girl from Brooklyn, so you're going to get the Brooklyn sensibility in the book.
Right, and the mob parts that we're going to put in.
She happens to be a witch. She just happens to be older with life experience.
Right,
and I think people like her.
Right. And book 2, which is going to be a little bit more heavier with the mob neighborhood part.
But there's also heavier magic in there. There's other things I can't say, but there's great stuff in there.
And luau's.
Oh, you gave a little hint.
Well, we could say that if you want. I mean, why? We want to build anticipation. It's going to be...
Speranza goes to Hawaii.
Yes. And unlike the Brady Bunch, she's not going to take back a tiki thing to start trouble.
She knows not to take anything off that island because she's scared of spiders.
Correct. So
Dance for me, spider.
What we're going to do is...
Yes. How much time do we have?
It's 46 minutes and 51 seconds.
Yeah,
so
I think we're good. I think we touched on everything. I love the name of this podcast. I thought it was fun. Jim did come up with the name, which I thought was Older She Wrote. I mean, how great is that?
Right, because she wrote, that's a takeoff obviously on Murder, She Wrote, but also the fact that we skewed it a little older
and it was on purpose. This was an intentional thing to make this character not be that ingenue that you're used to reading in the books, the coming of age story. This isn't a woman that's already lived life and has a lot more of life to live.
Right. But she's also starting on a very perilous and interesting journey into magic and into the Never Never and having to, do a lot of things that she never thought she was going to do, And
listen, I think when she opened her shop, right, and when she thought that was full circle, when she had her shop, I thought that was my full circle when I opened my store. How old was I? 40? 40 something?
No.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I was 45.
45, yeah.
Okay. So I thought that was going to be it. That's what I was going to do. I didn't know where it was going to take me after. I didn't know the other things that were going to happen. She thought she was going to open a shop and she was just going to do little spells for the neighborhood and that was it. She did not realize where, things would spin and turn.
Right. She didn't know what her position was going to be, but
she thought that was her full circle is what I'm trying to say.
Right. But the interesting thing was her grandmothers knew that she had this potential and they were grooming her from the very beginning.
Yes.
Vying for the chance to be able to control her and be able to direct her.
Sometimes you think a little sweet old lady isn't always such a sweet old lady.
Yes. They're nasty hypocrites underneath.
You never know. You never know.
Right. So hopefully Speranza isn't that, and she's going to learn from the
I think she has flaws, and they're going to come out, and you're going to see her flaws.
But what she's going to be, the one thing that I say to Lisa all the time, which is the most important thing about people when we meet, and I always say to Lisa, what does this person not have, Lisa?
Self-awareness.
That's it. When you talk to someone and they say they have no idea how they're coming off, they have no idea how they're acting, they have no idea what everyone thinks of them. They think they're great, and they're not. So Speranza has a little bit more self-awareness, and she realizes what her grandmothers are doing.
And she
Ultimately,
sees
she realizes
patterns, and she doesn't want to become them.
And when she deals with her own granddaughter, she's got to make a decision. Do I go along and decide, oh, grandmother's going to be in the next book? We can this is called a promo, Lisa.
Okay.
All right.
My eyes just went wide.
Lisa thinks that everything has to be a secret, and you're not giving away the book. People want to read the book. I love Angel Woman as they talk about it. I could tell you what his next book is going to be like, because it's going to be like his last book. So it's not, or Reacher, Reacher comes into a town, he beats up a lot of guys, he kills a couple of guys, and then he goes and he leaves. That's how it works, okay? It's fine. So the next book, Speranza is going to be dealing with her own granddaughter.
Yes.
And she's going to think, do I have to keep secrets from her for her own good?
Or she catches herself doing things that Nona
did to her.
That's going to be, so what do you do at that point?
Right. And does she have an internal dialogue? Does she speak it out? That's a question for you to write as a writer. Does she actually articulate that to her husband or to her friends? Or does she not talk about it only internally and think about it? Where does that go? In other words, how does
We'll see.
Right. How does she handle the fact that she can see parallels? Life is always parallels, and in my opinion, in continuation. And I always tell Lisa, I think there's 7 or 8 plots, and that's it. They never change. So it's very difficult to come up with something's different. So when you see a parallel and you say, holy cow, I remember this happened when I was a kid, it's happening again.
Right.
And what do you do? What
and I
decisions
think she's
do you
going to deal with a lot of that.
Right. In the new book.
In book 2.
But
and book 2 is Never Go Against the Family.
Right. So it's got a lot of great stuff in it. And hopefully you guys have gotten book 1. And
yes.
Remember, available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo.
If you go to thebrooklynwitch.com, you can see it all there. And if you want a signed copy.
Oh, that's correct.
You can order it from thebrooklynwitch.com.
Right. And you get a lot of little goodies
And
involved.
I always throw things in. If you look on my Instagram, you see that I'm always sewing. Every weekend, I'm making book bags from this taffeta flocked velvet fabric that I send the book in when you order it from the website.
Usually what happens, Lisa's sewing while I'm cooking. So
yes,
hopefully it doesn't smell like garlic. I don't think it does. She's far enough away from where I'm cooking.
And if you're listening to us on Spotify, don't forget to press that little button that turn it green so you get notifications when a podcast is live. We usually go live every Friday, right?
Right. And
so don't forget to follow us. If you're listening to us directly off the website, don't forget to click through to Spotify so that you can follow us.
Yeah, set up an account. It's free, so it's great.
Instagram is at Lily's Valise.
And the 2 things that I want to mention
TikTok at Lily's Valise.
We would love if you've read the book, if you could possibly write a review on Amazon or Goodreads.
It does help with the algorithm.
It helps more people see us and get us more visibility.
And if you did buy it on Amazon, you will be a verified purchaser.
Which is very important. So if you could possibly drop...
higher.
And if you can't, if you also listen on the podcast, you could also leave a comment there.
Yeah, we'd love to read some comments on the podcast.
We like a feedback. Say something like, Jim, shut up.
We like feedback.
You're talking too much, Jim. Shut up. Let Lisa talk. Let Lisa use another L word.
Yes, another L word.
So...
listen to our podcast.
Yes. Lemonade. Limoncello.
Ooh. I just bought a T-shirt that has limoncello written on it. Lemons for the summer.
Yes.
I thought it was
cute. So when we used to go to Marco Polo, he would always come over. Marco would always come over and say, hey, how about some limoncello? And we'd say, okay, sure.
All right.
All right. So I think we've covered the waterfront here. I think we said a lot of great things. Remember, enjoy shows and books and theories.
And support those TV shows. Watch them with women 58 years old.
Except Scarpetta, because that sucks. Just
keep saying that.
It does suck really bad.
Well, she does have the Practical Magic coming out.
Yes. She's got another show coming out next week, so it doesn't matter.
There's tons of them. She's all over the place. I love it. Good for her. I'm very happy.
Good for her, bad for us.
Why is it bad for us?
I think they could spread it around a little. I remember Pat Cooper, who's a very funny comic that grew up in our neighborhood, who I knew, was talking about in one of the TV shows that we were talking about, Tough Crowd, and he was saying to one of the actors or guys that had so many gigs, he said, "Give somebody else a chance. You can't do everything. Give somebody else a chance." So Nicole Kidman, give somebody else a chance.
Yeah, but I like that I'm seeing Brooke Shields. When I saw that
Oh, yeah.
Acorn
I love Brooke
commercial, I
Shields.
was so happy. I think that's great. We thought about Brooke Shields being Speranza too.
She's definitely a possibility.
I mean, we have a list of who I'd want to play Speranza.
Yes.
And
She's
she was
definitely
on
on that list. But right, and we're really looking forward to her new show.
Yes.
Right now, we're watching a show about Bomb Squad that it's going to blow up. So
Oh, that's on BritBox?
yes, Trigger Point, very good.
Point, very good. Just in case anybody wants to keep. If you fall asleep watching TV, watch this because you won't fall asleep.
Yeah, Lisa actually didn't fall
I
asleep
did
on this
not fall asleep watching it last night.
one. On the other hand, Hope Valley, 1985, she was snoring away. And she wakes up, what's going on?
I'm
I
like,
said,
rewind.
the cowboy was kidnapped and, forget it. Don't worry about it.
Ah, well, that's the end.
Okay,
of our
we're trying
episode,
to.
Older She Wrote.
And if you want to leave a comment of how we should end it off, because Lisa insists that we have to have a closing.
Yes, I think we need a closing line.
I don't think we do, but if you want,
Look
that's
at
fine.
Walter Cronkite.
Yes, look at him. He's dead. And he was a fraud. But,
I don't want to say ciao for now.
well, that's what you came up
That's
with.
what I'm going to say because
Right.
that's all I got.
And I say, happy trails to you
Ciao for now.
until we meet again.
Ciao for now.
Happy trails to you
Ciao for
until we
now.
meet again.
Ciao for